Hi, this is Kari Wahlgren. I'm a voice actor. I've done the voice for Tigress in Kung Fu Panda, Legends of Awesomeness, Zatanna in DC Superhero Girls,
Little Suzy and Phineas and Ferb.
Shandra Jimenez in Gravity Falls, and many, many others. So you are watching and listening to Amber the Fangirl, and I can't wait for you to hear our interview.
Hello, everybody. Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. Now, my guest today is a guest that I have wanted to speak to for the longest time. And honestly, the waiting has really paid off. You may know my guest from different cartoons, video games, movies. She was the voice of Nova in Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. Saturn Girl in Legion of Superheroes, Suzy Johnson. You remember? I remember Suzy.
Oh, I totally remember Suzy. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Very much.
That's my 8-year-old self, just like, wow. Oh my, I love it. I love it. I love it. Tigre in Kung Fu Panda, Legends of Awesomeness, Mina Monroe in Bunicula, Shannon Formulax and more in OKKO Let's Be Heroes, Victorion in Transformers The Combiner Wars series, Zatanna in DC Superhero Girls, Baby Scrat in Ice Age Scrat Tales, Martha Kent and young Clark Kent in My Adventures with Superman, Helen Stacy and more in Spidey and His Amazing Friends, Agent Karen Croft in Transformers Allspark, and Arcee in the War for Cybertron Transformers video games, and so many more. I'm running out of breath just going through her resume. My guest is Kari Wahlgren. Hi, Kari!
Hello, Amber. This is the most patient young woman on the planet because we've been trying to make this happen for a very long time.
Oh my gosh, I'm just wow. Ooh, it really is Christmas now.
Yes, and we've already talked about how I'm going to steal her amazing headphones because they're adorable. So, yes.
I don't think she's watching this right now, but my plan is to actually bring my headphones with me to America and get Andrea Romano to sign them.
Oh, you must. You must.
I'm not gonna tell her. I'm not gonna tell her.
One of my favorite people on the planet.
I know. It's like
yeah.
She's done everything. And also Frank Welk we were just talking about as well. I've told everyone who's going to TFCon so far I'm going. I've not told Frank. Him seeing me is a complete surprise to him.
Oh my goodness. And we were just saying, I just think he is one of the loveliest people on the planet. I mean, not only is he amazingly talented, but he's just a good human being. So, yeah, it's you're just making my heart warm with all these people.
Me too. Well, I'm already warm in my nice little tweety onesie.
Yay!
I wore it a different way the other day. I'll have to do it in a minute. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh yes. Of course, Kari. Now, I want to start off by saying a lot of people at home may know Kari actually became a mummy, a mum, a mother.
I did.
Or a mommy, a mama, you know, when I say mummy, it's like, woo, mummy.
Yes, actually, that's a different kind of mummy. I became a mommy.
Say mummy. How's motherhood treating you, Kari?
Thank you for asking. It's really great. Our little boy, he just turned 10 months old, and it was pretty crazy because since everything has been pretty much on Zoom and remote, you only see people from about the neck up. So I kind of went through the whole pregnancy, and most people didn't know because they couldn't see my belly on Zoom. So we finally just had to tell people kind of right there at the very end, well, I'm not actually going to be able to do that session because I'm going to be giving birth to a baby.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, but it's been absolutely wonderful. And just every day he gets cuter and cuter. And he's got one tiny little tooth coming in. So I just like, it's ridiculous. If you go through, my phone is just hundreds of pictures of this baby.
I'm so happy for you and Bobby. Oh, that's so sweet. Wow. And how's Bobby with it all?
Oh, Bobby is great. Bobby Rock, he's a drummer. Right now he drums for Lita Ford. So any of you guys out there that know the kind of like 80s rock scene, he's been her drummer for a really long time, and he is loving fatherhood, and he's so good with it. And it's hard because he tours, and so whenever he's away, we just have to FaceTime, and he's got to see the little guy on FaceTime, and so he misses us when he's gone, but he's loving it.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, bless. Well, it sounds like he's a little bundle of joy to you both, and I'm so happy for you
Oh,
guys.
he is, and I sadly I think he's going to be a drummer because he just drums on anything that he gets his hands on. So
Those
we'll see.
those little bongo drums, you know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Any surface can be a drum, people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, honestly, just
Exactly.
like the just baby stage, because I have a nephew who's now
Oh,
5, and I've now got a I'm trying to think. She's oh my wait, your baby was born in February or January, right?
very end of January.
Oh, my niece is the very end of February, so
So
she is technically
very close.
she's nearly 10 months. She's nearly 10
Oh
months.
my goodness. Oh, it's a fun
No,
age. It's a
yeah,
super fun
definitely.
age. Yeah.
I know, honestly. But honestly, I'm glad to hear that, Kari, because that's something I've been meaning to ask you about. And honestly, just to hear that you're
Aw.
happy makes me happy.
Oh, thank you so much. It's
You're
been a
welcome.
huge change, but a wonderful change. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And just seeing like people, all these voice actors like congratulating you and stuff, it just warms my heart. It's like everyone's a big happy
Yeah.
family.
It really is a lovely community, and I've met so many of my good friends through that world, and yeah, it's kind of a lovely family.
Have you had any visitors yet to see the baby? Any voice actors have come around to see him?
Oh, a lot, a lot. He
Oh,
has so many uncles and aunties.
oh,
So yeah, Courtney Taylor and Julie Nathanson have been to see the baby numerous times, and JP Carliak, and
oh,
just
JP.
a lot of my voiceover friends have come to see him, and yeah,
Oh,
they
your
all
son.
and they get
Your
too many
s-
pictures. So
I was gonna say your son is probably gonna grow up surrounded by the most loving family members, most
he's
spoiled with
definitely,
love.
yeah, he is definitely spoiled with love. That's a great way to put it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Oh, bless. I'm glad to hear that, Carrie. Right, I've got to tell you now. Me and my friend have been talking about Transformers Earthspark. Well, so I don't watch it. She does.
Oh.
But she'd like to know a little bit about Agent Karen Croft. Now, spoilers at home. This may or may not be a spoiler, but if it kind of is, I think. Apparently, Agent Karen, she dies or something.
Well, I don't want to give too many spoilers about it,
Yeah,
just in case people out there have not
yeah.
seen it yet.
There's a spoiler tag here. Don't worry.
But I will say that she is definitely one of those characters where she seems to be one thing, and as the series goes along, we kind of discover, oh, I don't think she's maybe as nice as she seems to be. And I always love playing characters like that, where
Yeah.
there's more and more revealed about them as we go along in the series. So she was deliciously fun to play, and just
Oh wow.
yeah. Yeah,
I didn't know she was British.
yeah. No,
I've never
she's
seen the
not.
show. Oh,
She's not.
I've never seen the show.
That was just my mustache twirling little thing. But
I love it.
she's definitely maybe not as sweet or on the up and up as she seems to be at the beginning. So
Mm.
oh, spoilers.
Well, my friend wanted to know what's it like to voice a character called Karen who has a Karen haircut.
What a great question.
Do you think she is a Karen or I don't know?
Well, I mean, I guess if there was an evil Karen, we could definitely say
Maybe.
that.
Yeah.
It is fun because she's blonde like I am, so she's blonde and she's got her, black turtleneck or whatever and her little outfit. So, yeah, she's definitely not a Karen that you would want to mess with.
Mm,
That's what I'll
definitely
say.
not. No.
Yeah,
No.
no.
I didn't think that. I didn't think that. She looks so malicious. And honestly, that wasn't your first sort of step into the Transformers universe. Of course, you voiced
No.
Arcee in the War for Cybertron video games and Victorion in the Combiner
Yes.
Wars series. What was it like doing those?
Well, playing RC was definitely kind of one of those little bucket list things because, she was the girl, she was the girl transformer, and that was a big deal for me back then. And then with Victorion, I actually got to come back and play a little meteor role. So Transformers was just one of those bucket list franchises that anytime I get to do something in it, I get very giddy. So, but I will say that Agent Croft is probably the most fun I've had
Ooh,
recording a role in the Transformers world. So,
that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool. Wow.
very
Oh my
much.
gosh, I'm so glad I asked about that. I was gonna say because honestly, like you did Combiner Wars and that had Peter Cullen. Have you met Peter Cullen before in person or have you not?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like we met in passing, but we haven't had like a good conversation. But I think we were in a lobby and got to cross paths, and it was like, oh, that's you know.
Oh,
So
hi, you're Optimus
yeah,
Prime.
yeah, exactly. So I don't think that it's. I don't think we've actually gotten to have a really nice long convo. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because
no,
he's
that sounds.
legendary.
Yeah. Oh my
Totally.
gosh, he's Optimus freaking Prime.
Right, right, right.
He's like, wow. He's like, wow.
That's
Hi,
legit.
Peter Cullen.
That's
He's
legit.
up there. He's
Yeah,
like, you're so
right.
tall. Yeah. Kari, how did your career start out? Because I mean, I read up a little bit about it, but something about you had a trip to California and then you were asked to perform a voice on Adventures in
Oh.
Odyssey. What was it
Oh my
like?
gosh. So yeah, you have done your homework. So I mean, I was always obsessed with cartoons when I was a little girl, and apparently the famous story is that I told my parents when I was 5 years old that I was going to be the voice of a Disney princess one day.
Oh
Not that I was going
yeah.
to be a Disney princess or something, but that I was going to be the voice of a Disney princess. And they were like, huh, okay, well, all right. But, even
Take your word for
from
it.
that age, I had this idea that people were doing those voices and I would run around the house and I'd be acting out all the parts. So yeah, there were these little radio dramas, Adventures in Odyssey, that I used to listen to with my dad when I was a child. And we happened to be going on a family road trip and we stopped by where they recorded it and we happened to be walking
Oh.
through on a tour and they were like we are actually trying to cast a young girl. How old is your daughter? And it was I think my 11th birthday. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, we're trying to cast a girl her age. Would she like to audition? And I was like, yes, I would. So I auditioned for it and I got the part and they recorded me right there on the spot. So that was actually my first professional voiceover job. Um, and then from there, I had the bug because it was so amazing to be in front of a microphone and get to do that. So I was always recording my voice on tapes and things like that. And yeah, so after that, I was like, definitely voiceover is going to be part of my career one day. So
Definitely.
yeah, that was
And
how it
then
started.
how many years later was it that you realized, okay, this is what I'm going to do for a living, and then you properly went into a recording session with people?
Well, it's interesting because when I was in you brought up Andrea Romano, and when I was in junior high or early high school, Batman the animated series came out and I would rush home to watch it and it was
God
such a
tier
huge
show.
influence on me. And I actually went to a bookstore to find the Warner Brothers address and I wrote Andrea Romano a letter. And I said,
Oh,
I love your voice directing and your casting. And one day I'm going to move to Los Angeles and I'm going to be a voice actor. And I really hope we get to meet each other. Uh, and she never got the letter because I just mailed it to Warner Brothers Studio. But it was on my mind so early, and so I went to college for theater, and I started doing voiceovers in Kansas City, like right out of college and everything. And I put together an animation demo, and then I moved to LA and started auditioning and trying to get an agent. And the cool thing was, years later, I got cast as Charmcaster in Ben 10. And I went in for my first recording session, and Andrea Romano was the voice director. And it was all I could do I couldn't even make eye contact very long because I was trying so hard not to cry because it was
bless
such a beautiful moment for me. And to get to work with her was huge, It was like my little child self was,
you. Yeah. Don't worry, I
having a
can still
huge
hear you when I
moment.
took the headphones off.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
It's
So
just like I'm switching positions because I don't know which is best for me. That looks kind of cool.
there we go. There we go. I like
Yeah.
it.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Because I remember seeing a picture of you. I'm trying to think who else was in it. It was you, Andrea, Frank. It could have been also with Kevin Michael Richardson and D. Bradley Baker,
Yes.
maybe? What
Yep.
was that
I
for?
I want to say that might have been Nico and the Sword of Light.
Oh, that's a
We
good
did an
show.
Amazon Prime series,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that might have been one of the last series that Andrea directed. So, it was
Yeah.
wonderful to have another chance to work with her on that series.
Yeah, actually, I gotta ask, did you get to go to
Yeah,
her did you get to go to her retirement party?
I did. I
Oh
did go.
my God.
Uh, and it was definitely it was wonderful for my heart because it was packed and it was just a who's who
Everyone was there, the whole
of
world was there.
all. Yeah, they really were. And people that couldn't be there filmed messages and those got piped in. So there was a lot of love in that room.
Wow, to be a
Yeah.
fly on the wall there, that would have been
Yeah.
amazing. Um, is there a celebrity that you've ever worked with who you've been so starstruck by in a recording session you've not been able to concentrate by any chance?
um, eh, Gosh, it's kind of funny, but I remember this is going to be kind of silly, but when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
I was really like just fascinated by the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and I wasn't
Yeah.
allowed to watch them, so I would sneak over to one of my friends' houses and we would like try to catch a couple of minutes of it on HBO. So Robert England, who played Freddy, he came in and played one of our villains on Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. And I
Ooh.
remember when he came in, I was just like, yeah. So my childhood, of trying to sneak over to the neighbor's house to watch him, that was a pretty crazy day. So it's I don't know, it's a random thing, but that one was probably one of my first little bit of a starstruck moment.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds honestly really cool. It is it's a good question, right? I've literally just thought this in my head, but I'm thinking this could go either very right or very wrong the way I say it out loud.
Oh,
Okay, right. So DC superhero girls, your voice is Zatanna.
yeah.
Now, of course, a lot of people associate superheroes with like, male Superman, Batman, Iron Man, all these big actors. To have a superhero show tailored towards girls, is this something you would have loved to have grown up with? Like a whole superhero thing with a whole
Oh.
entire girl ensemble?
Oh, yes. I mean, we years before the show came out, they did a little pilot animatic for it, like just a little 5-minute thing. And I remember getting to do, I think I might have voiced Supergirl in it. It was just
Yeah,
like a little test.
I always
I
thought
can't
you were Supergirl, to be fair.
I can't remember, but it was just for that little one, and I remember thinking, "Oh my gosh, I pray that this gets picked up because this is the show that I wanted as a little girl." They had a big compilation of Wonder Woman comics in my local library when I was a kid, and I checked it out so many times that the book fell apart. So, I mean, I've been obsessed with Wonder Woman and Supergirl and stuff like that since I was really small. So when I got to just do a few voices for that little test animatic, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the show that I wanted to have when I was growing up. So when the show got greenlit and they started sending out the auditions, I thought, I don't even care if I play woman number two. I have to be on this show. I want to just play any role I can on this show. But funny enough, I read Zatanna and I thought, oh, this one would be a really fun one to get. So I was thrilled to get to end up playing her. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
remember actually hearing you as a Helen Stacey in Spidey and His Amazing Friends. My nephew had it on in the background. I was like, she sounds familiar. Look at the credits. Kari Wahlgren. I'm like, what?
Yes. Yes.
So
Getting to play
cool.
Gwen Stacy's mom, who
Hmm.
also has the same kind of haircut as Agent Croft, now that I think about it. They
Yeah,
both have short
yeah,
blonde hair. So I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. I
For
love
what
it.
that's worth out there, randomly.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So, um, is there sort of any advice that you give people, as in the subject of warming up your voice before an audition? Is there any advice you would give to anyone who's trying to like warm up their voice before an audition, before a show, a recording, or anything like that? Or how do you
You know,
prepare?
it's a great question, and it's a very personal thing. I mean, each person has to kind of figure out what works for their voice. Um, the big thing I do tell people is to really get to know what your voice can do. Because if you're a trumpet player, your instrument is your trumpet. If you're a
Yeah.
voice actor, your instrument is your voice. And one of the mistakes that people make is they'll be like, oh, I can do this voice like this, and then they get into a recording session, they realize that they can only do that voice for about 10 minutes, and then their voice starts to hurt.
Yeah.
So in your own time, getting to know what your voice can do, how high can you go? How low can you go? How much texture can you add into your voice? Getting to know what your instrument can do is so important. And then figuring out what you can sustain is important as well. And then after that, you'll start finding that you have to do certain things to take care of your voice. So, I have certain friends that they actually have steam rooms in their house, in their bathroom, and they sit in steam to open up their voices. Certain people drink tea, hot tea. Other people drink hot water with lemon. Other people have certain lozenges that they like. I used to be no coffee before a session, and now I actually have to have coffee before a session because it actually just helps me warm up and be alert, and it actually feels good on my throat. You just kind of find out what works for you
Yeah.
as you continue to do it.
Yeah. That sounds perfect. That's superb advice, Kari.
There you go. Free advice.
Now, Kari, I was quite surprised when I found this out. So in Tiny Toons University, apparently you're the voice of Lola Bunny.
Yes, I did Chef Lola Bunny in an episode, which was very fun. And then I've done a couple of other characters in one or two other episodes as well, which was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool. Yeah, I
So-
mean, that was another one I used to watch when I was a kid. So
I was going to say that's what my next question was going to be. Since
Oh,
you've
yeah.
been in a reboot of a show, did you grow up with the original version of the show?
Oh, I sure did. And I loved that show. So yeah, just getting, again, it was one of those franchises where when the show came out, I was like, oh man, or when it got announced, I thought, oh, I hope I get to play something. So
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy for you. That just
Thank
sounds like
you.
awesome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I've got to mention it. Ice Age Scrat Tales. Little baby Scrat.
Probably one of the most fun collaborative projects that I've gotten to do in a long time. And it was recorded during the pandemic. So it was all remote, but it's probably the most secretive project that I've ever worked on because they actually, I mean, I had a whole setup, a whole recording system set up in my house. And they're like, we can't even have this on your computer. So they shipped an entire recording setup and a laptop and everything for that project.
Wow.
Yeah. So just for that project, I would have to set up all of their equipment and everything and record it. And it was so cool because there was a different team. I think we did 6 shorts. I think there were 6, and there was a different team that worked on each one. So, on Zoom, I would be getting on with different directors and different writers and different, there was a whole different team for each one, and everybody was just so excited and so passionate about the project, and it was great because they would be in various stages of animation. And I found that as we got into a good working groove, I could say, well, I know that they don't have a cue right here, but you see when he twitches his eye like that or something like this, could I do a little something there? And they're like, yeah, try it. And then I'd be like, oh, can I try a little something here? So it really became such a fun collaborative process and was just a joy. A joy to work on. It was, I absolutely loved it. So very good memories of that whole team.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking up the Wikipedia page now. It was the final thing Blue Sky did before they folded.
I know. And when we found out that Blue Sky was shutting down, there was the miscommunication that project was just going to get shelved and never see the light of day. So it was one of the few times where I've just been really kind of heartbroken about something that happened in the industry. And then we found out later, oh, no, they're still going to release it. So, wow.
Yeah.
That was a relief.
Yeah, and just the short they did, it says that they did an unlisted video simply titled The End, and it was literally just Scrat achieving his dream of eating the acorn with no catches, and he scurried off screen. No,
It was
nothing.
beautiful.
He just did it.
It was
He just
beautiful. It was it was just such a great project. Uh
I'm gonna have to watch it now. I'm really gonna have to watch it now because
it's
like
if you like the Ice Age shorts, if you like the Ice Age shorts, you will love this series of
oh
shorts. I
my
mean,
god.
it's just all about Scrat and Baby Scrat interacting and
Yeah.
their relationship to the acorn and each other. And yeah, one of the most fun things I've ever done.
Oh, how about honestly? It seems like, oh my gosh, such a good way to go out on. I'm still really sad that Blue Sky folded because like a lot of their stuff that they've done is just
Ah,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a hard one. So I was glad that we got this one in
Yeah,
before
definitely.
they
And you're a
folded.
part of their
So
legacy.
I
So
know it's very
I
exciting.
know. So cool. I love it, honestly. As also, right? Um, of course, we wrote about Suzy Johnson in Phineas and Ferb. Is it? Have you ever? Were you any other character in Phineas and Ferb, or were you just voicing Suzy for the entire show's run?
I think I did some incidentals also. I'm sure I did some incidentals. I just can't remember what they are. So it wasn't anything big enough to say, "Oh yes, I was blah 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 blah." It was just like little things here and there, which is wonderful. Like anybody out there who's interested in voiceover, I can't say enough good things about incidentals because you'll have episodes of things or movies where there is woman number two or child three or teenager on bike. And those that you make a career out of that and they're fun to do. And so even if you can't remember the names of these
Yeah.
characters or even if they don't have names, they can be really, really a fun part of your voiceover job.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm literally right looking at the behind the voice actors page for Legion of Superheroes. And honestly, I personally thought it was going to be Andrea Romano who voice directed it, but after finding out who it was, wow, okay, I did not expect that. Kelly Ward and Susan
Yes.
Blue, apparently, they both voice directed it or something like that.
Yeah, I think Kelly started out doing it and then Sue Blue took over for maybe season two.
Wow, yeah, I met
So
Kelly's down there, and I've met
yeah,
Susan's
he's
down there.
great. He's great.
I met all of them. That's
I love
great.
it. That's a
Yeah.
good wall of fame back there.
Yeah, definitely. Is there any other voice directors that you've worked with that you what about Chris Zimmerman? Have you ever worked with her?
Oh, very much so. Chris Zimmerman, she's great. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, there's a number of great voiceover directors that I've had a chance to work with. And the thing I do love is that more and more women are getting into voice directing for voiceover. And so Mary Elizabeth McGlynn is great. Katie McWayne is amazing. Colette Sunderman. There's a number of good female directors that are in the mix now, and I love
Yeah.
to see that. I love to see
Yeah,
that.
me too. Female rap. Woo!
Yeah.
um I was gonna bring up something, then I just completely forgotten it. That's like, oh, the worst
Oh no.
feeling.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
it just goes to the back of your head like it's not a priority anymore. And you're
Yeah.
thinking,
Welcome to my life. It's a constant. What did I walk into this room to get, or what was I going to say? It's
no, it's crazy,
constant.
honestly. Just like you're thinking, and then you're thinking, oh man, I lost it. So you're trying to
Yeah.
think of what you're gonna ask next.
All right.
Actually, I've got a good one to ask you, Kari. When you go on holiday vacation, do you continue to record stuff or do auditions, or do you just leave that to one side and say, okay, I'm just taking a few days off? Does the work come with you, or do you leave the work at home?
That is a great question, and it really depends because there are certain trips where I'll take a little microphone and I'll record auditions and things like that. But then there are other times where I try really hard not to take things with me. And it's funny. I remember one trip I went to Japan about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I really made the choice. Oh man, I'm not going to record. I'm not going to do anything. And I still had my agents get in touch with me, and they're like, "Oh, they really need you to pick up one line for this one show." And I was like, I'm in Japan. It's a huge time change. Like I just don't want to do it. And they're like, they are willing to have you record it into your iPhone. So I remember getting up at some horribly, early hour of the morning and just recording into my phone to get this one line that they needed for something. So sometimes even if you try to get away, they pull you back in, which is great,
Yeah.
which is a wonderful problem to have. So there we go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, with me, I think
Yeah.
I just leave all the work at home. I just have like way too many
Yeah.
stuff I need to take me on holiday. So
The
yeah.
nice thing is, I went to Peru. This was, I think, back in 2019. I went to Peru and I took my dad with me, and we hiked the Inca Trail up to Machu Picchu. And
Oh.
an amazing trip, just an incredible trip together. But there was one stretch of the Inca Trail where, for a few days, maybe 3, 4 days, there just was no internet reception. So we couldn't be on our phones if we wanted to. And at first, we get so addicted to our phones, it's just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? How am I going to stay in touch with people? And then after a while, it was actually really nice because you just have to think, well, I guess I'm just going to have to enjoy the scenery of the Inca Trail because I can't get on my phone and check, Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that was really nice. I think in the future there might be taking another trip where you just can't check out
maybe. Yeah,
the social.
yeah. Same
We'll
same with
see.
me. I went to this beautiful place in Spain. It's just like all these mountains, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I don't need social media right now.
Wow.
My God,
Oh, I'm gonna
after
have to ask you more about that at some point because that's on my bucket list is Spain.
oh my God, when I come over, I'll definitely have to show you all the pictures that I took. Honestly, it's just I love it.
Share
It's so
some pictures or share a couple of things that, like, if you were gonna vacation there, what do you say? This,
yeah,
you absolutely have to see this. So,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
it's
I've
in the
got it.
top 5 or 6 of
Yeah,
my bucket
definitely.
list.
I'd say Madrid. Madrid is like, oh my gosh, first place I went abroad
Oh,
to. Amazing. Like, oh my gosh, it's like, wow, I love it.
oh, oh, my heart.
I
Yeah,
know.
travel is
Yeah,
such a huge thing to me. Like I got to a certain point where I thought, you know what? Unless I actually make time to travel, it's not going to happen. And if I could say something out there to everybody as far as just life advice, there's never a perfect time to do anything. You just
yeah,
if you have a dream or if there's something that's really important to you in your life, you just kind of have to make it happen because, you know, life is what
yeah,
happens when you're busy waiting for the perfect time to make plans.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah.
Kari, now I'm gonna ask you the big question now, which
Oh,
is, like I said, likes to do, he likes to drop. Now, of course, you were in a lot of stuff that I grew up with, so like Fish Hawks and Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, and all these different shows. I'm literally just looking at them, Fairly Odd Parents. Oh my gosh, like just all these things. They're just going all over my eyes. Like I'm just like,
bless
wow,
your
there's
heart.
so many everywhere. What shows did you grow up with? Of course, I grew up with the shows that I listed there. What were the ones that you grew up with?
Oh, man, there were so many, but I will say that um all of the Disney feature films were huge to me. Like I grew up on the Disney princesses. Back then, one big Disney animated film would come out a year or maybe every other year. So it was an event, to hear that Beauty and the Beast was coming out. Like I would wait a year or more for that to come out. So those movies were huge for me. Batman the Animated Series was a huge one for me. Um,
Did you meet Kevin
Gosh,
Conroy by any chance?
I did.
You did.
We met briefly, just in passing at Comic-Con one year, and
Uh-huh.
I was with D. Bradley Baker, and he
Mm.
grabbed him because he knew how much I loved that show, and so we got to meet and take a picture together and everything, and uh,
Wow.
yeah, it was a pretty meaningful moment in my life because that show was one that really made me want to be a voice actor and think, man, this is an art form that I
That was
really,
all
really want to.
Andrea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Andrea. It all comes back to Andrea.
Woo! 6 degrees of Andrea Romano.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was there any others that you grew up with?
I mean, Dungeons and Dragons was big, G.I. Joe was big, Transformers would be on, um, Gem and the Holograms. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
good one.
loved Gem and the Holograms. Um, Monchichis. I don't know
Munchies?
if anybody's gonna remember that one, but I like
I don't remember watching it
they're
as a
like,
kid, but I know of it. I know
oh
of
yeah,
it.
yeah. I just for some reason that one's kind of popping into my mind. Um, Muppet Babies, Fraggle Rock. Um, gosh, those are the. I know that there's more Care Bears. Uh, yeah, I could go
Yeah,
on and on and on, but those are the ones that are flashing into my mind of like, oh, I'd watch that one. I would watch that one. So
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're gonna have to
yeah.
get up to TFCon because some of the Monchichi's voice actors are going. Peter Cullen's going, Frank Welker's going, Laurie Fazio's going.
Oh
Some
my
friends are really coming
gosh.
together. Yeah.
Oh, big deal.
And one final thing, just real quick, if you could voice any Disney princess, because I know you said about voicing any, you wanted to voice a Disney princess, who would you voice and why? If you can't pick, what sort of Disney princess would you like to voice if you could make one
Okay.
up?
For years and years, it was my dream that if there was ever a chance that I would just in a heartbeat, I would voice Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And I remember that they did a big casting a number of years ago for the new voice of Belle, and I didn't get it, and I was so heartbroken. And then I met Julie Nathanson, and Julie Nathanson had gotten the role. And the first
Yeah.
time I heard her do the voice of Belle, I said, they absolutely made the right decision. I have goosebumps on my arms right now because Julie Nathanson is the voice of Belle now. And she's amazing. So I can't say Belle anymore because Julie Nathanson is perfect. Um, so maybe Cinderella, but Jennifer Hale's so good at Cinderella. So
Make
I'll
up your
just,
own Disney
that's
princess.
right. I'll just say that if Jennifer Hale ever decides that she doesn't want to do it anymore, I would really love to do Cinderella because that was my first Disney princess that I really fell in love with. But there's always hoping that there's going to be a new one. There's always hoping that there's going to be a new one that comes along, and then maybe that'll be my.
What would your ideal princess be like? What would you look like? What would her interest be?
You know what? You know what I think would be fun? I got to voice Attina, Ariel's older sister,
Uh-huh.
in Little Mermaid 3. So
Oh,
what I would really love is if they would do some sort of spin-off with the sisters
that'd be
of
good.
Ariel, and I would actually love to do more of Attina and get to make her my own.
Yeah.
Uh, so let's put that out there in the universe. More
Yeah.
mermaids, Disney. More mermaids.
Mermaids! Woo!
Yes.
Woo! Well, Kari, thank you so much for appearing on my show today. It's been an absolute
Oh,
blast to talk to you. Thank you so
thank
much.
you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
You're welcome. Where can we find you on the internet? Have you got anything you'd like to plug or anything like that?
I'm trying to be better at social media. I kind of took a little more time off during the whole bebe, but I'm at Kari Wahlgren on Instagram and on the artist formerly known as Twitter, and I'm at Kari Wahlgren official on Facebook. So Instagram is kind of my favorite. So if you guys are out there and you want to follow me, just go to at Kari Wahlgren and I'm just posting fun stuff. So, yeah,
Sweet. Well, I'll get all that linked in the description. And to you at home,
great.
thank you so much for watching this episode of In Conversation with ATF featuring the lovely Kari Wahlgren. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did recording it and chatting to Kari. So stay happy, stay safe. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
And cut.